This is Beyond the Bell Tower, where an elite group of North Carolina State University students give us a behind-the-scenes look at their steps to success and show us how they attain even their lofty goals. These students, who are in the top 10% of the country, are active in Student Support Services at NC State, a nationally recognized program designed to provide support for low-income, first-generation college students. Nationally, this population has an 11% graduation rate within 6 years. The Student Support Services students surpass that rate each year and go on to become doctors, dentists, accountants, and engineers. They work at Google, Apple, and the NCAA. They have earned PhDs in Ivy League colleges. These students go well beyond the bell tower to reach this level of success.
All right, today we have Gabby Neal, and I am your host, Isaiah Ackridge. And we're coming to you with another podcast on study abroad and student and the life of Gabrielle Neal as a student here at NC State. So I'm going to let her introduce herself and we're going to get started.
Hi, I'm Gabby. I am practically a senior. My major is political science and I minor in Chinese studies. And I'm currently studying abroad at the University of Seoul in Seoul, South Korea.
Wow, Gabby. So how does it feel to be on your last year of college?
Really scary. Yeah, definitely this was an attempt for me to figure out what I want to do after college. And so now that I'm here, I know that this is the place that I want to work after graduation.
Definitely. And it's kind of like, I'm sure that everyone listening can relate, but it's kind of like we took a pause on life and now we're in a completely different area in our life. And it just feels like we just hopped into this area of life. Would you agree to that?
Yeah, especially not being on campus for those 2 semesters that we got sent back really felt like I wasn't even in college. I was just taking a little break and then now getting back into classes and doing coursework and everything. It was definitely like being pushed back into the real world.
Definitely. And just so the listeners catch where you're at, could you remind us where you're at again, please, and what part you're in?
Yeah, I'm in Seoul, South Korea. I live in Jongno-gu, which is it's a smaller area of Seoul, but we're still in the big city. But our area isn't as city as many big buildings and stuff like that. It's more small and homey kind of city, more like NC State.
Okay, definitely. And what time is it there right now for the listeners?
It is 11:19 p.m.
Wow. So we caught you in the nighttime.
Yeah. It's usually when a lot of my meetings, especially for NC State, happen. I had my course advising at 2 a.m. the other night. So
Wow. So tell us a little bit about, your sleep schedule. Tell us a little bit about your sleep schedule.
Oh God. When I first got here, I'm so thankful that we did have to do the 14-day quarantine because otherwise I would have not made it. It took me almost a month, I think, to get finally adjusted to the time difference. But I mean, there's so much to do and so much to see, and the subways usually run until 11:30. So I'm usually out until maybe 11 or 10 just to do all that I can in a semester. And then I'll hang out for a little while with my roommate and we shop a lot. So we'll try on our clothes and go to bed maybe around 1, 2 a.m.
Wow. And then wake up and do it all over again, right?
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. Okay, so we're going to dive right in. First, we have to address the foundation of your student life here at NC State. So from freshman year to junior year, tell us a little bit about that. I know it's a lot. Try to sum up the best parts or even the worst parts, and then we'll dive right into your journey through the country. So the floor is yours, and just be as candid as possible. And if you have any questions at any time, just let me know, and I can chime in on some things too. But the floor is definitely yours.
So yeah, I'm a first generation college student, and I started NC State in the spring of 2019. So it's definitely a little hard to come in halfway through the academic year and get adjusted. And my roommate, because I live in the Global Village at Alexander Hall, my roommate was a very interesting first roommate. She was nice, but sometimes you just don't really vibe with your roommate. But then, the Global Village, I've been there since I started NC State, and I love it there. The people are cool. Everyone is always so nice, and it's just a big community. And yeah, my second roommate during my sophomore year was from Sweden. We got along. I don't know what kind of trend I had going on, but
right.
Yeah.
You already that study abroad influence because your or roommates, if you will, are international.
Yeah, we didn't have many Korean students, none that I can remember. So I never really had that kind of opportunity. I think there was maybe 3 when I first got there. I remember meeting them when we went to the Chinese Lantern Festival, and that was really cool. But I didn't really get close with them or anything because I was still new, and so I just didn't want to do too much in the beginning. But yeah, and my roommate in 2020 was from the University of Seoul, and she's the reason that I'm here, which is really nice to get to see her. But yeah, living in the Global Village, and other than that, doing trio stuff. And usually I will be in the library with my 2 friends until 5 a.m. in the morning sometimes, not studying. Yeah, we just
talking.
yeah, because it was one of the only times that we really got to spend together after classes and stuff, and so we just had a lot to just talk to each other about and just learn from each other.
Right.
So yeah, but other than that, I didn't really. I did work at Study Abroad. I was a student worker since fall 19, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'd been doing that until last semester. And so they really helped me get here.
Mm-hmm.
And then I worked at Walk House for half a semester. But yeah, so that was my little experience in Korean culture before I came here. But yeah, other than that, I really didn't do much.
Definitely. So talk a little bit about your COVID experience with school and how that affected you, like going abroad, considering that you went straight from your regular sophomore year into the COVID year, which was junior year for you, and then to your senior year, which is like abroad now. Can you talk a little bit about that experience?
Yeah. I mean, I think when COVID hit, I think for me, I was just finally getting my like place in NC State and figuring out how things work, and I was just getting comfortable on campus. And then having to go back home, of course, and then being so far away from all my friends, it was really hard. Um, and so I'm thankful that we did get to come back even for a little bit. It was nice, even though I went back home after that. Um, and the situation over here in Korea it's not as bad as the US was,
Right.
but there's still a lot of restrictions. But I've heard that they're easing the restrictions on November 1st. They just wanted to get over the Halloween wave, and then they would lessen the restrictions. But I think since my classes have been online back at NC State, I think coming here and still having online classes, at least until November, it doesn't really like bother me as much as it did. I can still learn and participate in class.
Right.
So yeah, there's really like not much of a difference, I would say, but there's more opportunity to get out and explore in between classes.
I definitely can agree to that too. And what I would say for me personally, I actually did want to study. I wanted to study abroad next semester. So my spring semester, but I moved it back to my fall semester of my senior year because I was like, I need a full year again at state to, put myself back into the college environment, because this semester has probably been the hardest semester for everyone, considering that we've been online for a full year and then now we're jumping back into regular college. And it's just a lot to find your time management skills when you in COVID school, woke up maybe 10, 11 in the morning, rolled over, got your laptop and started your work because it was all asynchronous. So this is a big difference. So congratulations for just being able to adjust so quickly, or, find your success and your productivity within this type of environment. So now I want to transition to trio. Like, talk about your trio experience. Correct me if I'm wrong, but weren't you in trio in high school?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I was.
I had to plug trio Upward Bound, of course, because I feel like that's when we first met. So talk a little bit about your trio experience. You can mention Upward Bound, and how it shaped you for college, and then talk about your trio experience in college as well.
Yeah, without both Upward Bound and Trio, I don't think I would be here at all. Yeah, Upward Bound really they helped me figure out where I wanted to go to college. They helped me apply for scholarships and all that stuff. And I made some really great friends in that program. And a lot of them are in Trio now. So that's really nice. And then being here, of course, I always email Sarah if I have the slightest problem, and she's great. She will help me figure it out in no time. And it really wasn't much of a problem. She's like, okay, just do this and you'll be fine. Yeah, I love everyone in the office. They're all so wonderful. Yeah, I wouldn't be in study abroad. I wouldn't have gotten the Gilman if not for them. And yeah, I would be a terrible student
Not a
without
terrible
Trio.
student. The Trio definitely does help us a lot. I'm gonna plug Trio Upward Bound because I also was able to study abroad. This was before I even got into my freshman year of college, and I went to Prague in Europe. And I can say that experience was one of the best experiences of my life because, for one, and I'm sure you can relate to this and talk about this, when you go to another country after you've been in a small town or just one city for your entire life, it kind of shifts your perspective on how you look at yourself and how you look at the world as well. Because, when you're in your own solidified location, it's like nothing is different and everything is like the same, that your routine gets mundane and whatnot. But as soon as you step out of your comfort zone and get on that 9 to 16 hour to 24-hour plane ride, then it's like it sets in and it's just like, this is real now. This is something that I can learn from, and this is from my life. And honestly, without Trio Upward Bound, first coming into college, they allowed me to get scholarships. They allowed me to get all the resources I needed to go to Europe before my freshman year. Now, as soon as I transitioned into college, I could totally relate to, if I didn't have Trio Student Support Services, I would not be the student I am today. And that's real because Trio really does a really good job of setting people up for success, but not only setting people up for success, maintaining that success and maintaining that structure in a student's life and that drive to continue. Because I tell you one thing, NC State is not easy. NC State is not for the weak. But luckily, we have a lot of people and a lot of resources that are supporting us throughout our process. So I'm glad that you were able to connect with Upward Bound, and I'm glad you were able to connect with Trio. So moving from this, talk about the culture of Seoul. What do you think about it? And do you have any opinions, or what has your experiences been like?
I would definitely say, as a woman of color, I thought it was going to be a little difficult because Korea is so homogenous, but I haven't really experienced any like hardcore racism or anything. It's more like everyone's curious. I remember the one day that I had braids in, and they were kind of long braids, but I got on the subway and these older ladies, they were so fascinated. They're like, "Oh, is it your hair? Oh, wow, it's so beautiful. Can I touch it? Can I see?" And I still feel kind of bad because I did tell them that it was my hair. I just, yeah, it's my hair. Yeah, you can look. But yeah, the Korean people are really sweet, and whenever you need help and they see you struggling as a foreigner, they will definitely help you if they can. Not many people really speak English. They know English and they can understand, but they didn't have as much opportunity to speak English since it is a very homogenous country. So they're not always comfortable with their speaking skills. But I mean, just the only real problem is the language barrier. Other than that, everything is great.
Well, I know that is great, but like, why is it great? You know what I mean? Can you talk a little bit more about that? Because personally, I've only been to Europe, and I would love to go to Asia. But
definitely should.
And I want to know why I should go to Asia. So definitely, why is it fun? How is it fun? Like, talk about that.
Well, for me personally, since I love to shop, there's a lot of that. And if you also like Korean music or you like Korean dramas, or food, they're everywhere. And the food is really cheap. And there's also big portions because it's a more community-based society. So the meals are built to are structured to share. And I mean, everything, you can take the subway from one side of the country to the other in maybe an hour or two, which is really nice. You get to travel everywhere by the subway, and it's really clean and it's organized. And yeah, I think there's so many. One thing that I really love about Korea is that they have this mix of the old ancient palaces and temples, and they've built city around it, so you can just see the old, one of the bigger ones, Gyeongbokgung. You can see the gigantic palace, but you also get the cityscape behind it, which is really, really cool to me.
So it's almost like a city medieval, like a metropolitan's medieval aesthetic almost.
Yeah.
Wow, that sounds beautiful. And I wish that we could see some pictures. So maybe if you want to send some pictures to be uploaded with this podcast, that'll be great. So I guess, I hear a lot of good things with your experience so far. Let's get into the diversities and adversities of this whole experience. What has been either a big challenge for you or just the biggest challenge, studying abroad?
I think maybe one of the biggest challenges would be just navigating the language barrier, because I'm so used to being in America, because I've never been out of the country before. So everyone just speaks English. It's all English. So I never had to really struggle through that. But being here, nobody really speaks English because they don't have to. So it's difficult to communicate with other people, and with a cultural difference, I can't just walk up to someone and say, "Oh, I like your hair," or "I like your shoes," or something, and then we'll start a conversation from there, because everyone just kind of keeps to themselves unless they already know you or you're a mutual friend of a friend. So that's really difficult. I don't have many native Korean friends. Most of the people that I know are international students. So yeah, just making Korean friends, and it's mostly because of that language barrier and the minor cultural difference.
Definitely. So are you fluent in Korean, or you have a working knowledge of it?
Oh no. I did some self-study since high school, but I'm still really bad. But I am taking a class, so I'm beginner level, and I'm gonna work on it.
Gotcha. I definitely agree with that. Has it been hard to navigate? I know you talked about how everyone doesn't speak English. Has it been hard to navigate at the malls or in the restaurants and whatnot? Or do you kind of just, finesse your way through it and appear confident so you can get what you need and stuff like that? What do you think?
Well, I know phrases like "how much is this?" Or food names. So thankfully, like that knowledge gets me through. And if there's like a number that I don't understand or something, usually there will be a screen or they'll put it in a calculator and they'll show it to me so I don't have to struggle through the number systems. So yeah, I think a little bit of my knowledge helps, but there's always, the stuff that I don't know. But we're learning in our class. We have just gone through the restaurant unit and we're on the shopping unit now, which is great. So I'll be more confident the next time I go shopping, which will probably be tomorrow.
Wow. So from this whole conversation, I took that you like to go shopping in Korea. So that's nice. Well, Gabby, is there any other advice that you would give our listeners today? We really appreciate your time and you coming on the podcast and talking about a little bit about your study abroad experience. But is there any other advice that you would say to somebody that wants to study abroad or, it's nervous or scared or just doesn't have the resources to? What would you say to them?
I would say to apply. You never know what you can do until you put yourself out there. I am from a low-income household, and I was worried about the money and how I was going to afford everything. But I applied for the program. I applied for scholarships, and Study Abroad worked with me, and they give you all these resources. So as long as you apply, then you can do it. And it sounds kind of cheesy, but Study Abroad is one of the best experiences that I've had in my life, and I'm so grateful that I got to do it. And if I had more time, I would extend my program more, but I really want to graduate in the fall. So, but yeah, I would definitely say go for it. There's resources out there and people want to give it to you.
Definitely. Well, Gabby, I really appreciate your time today. Please let us know if we can do anything for you. I hope that you enjoy the rest of your experience. I'm sure the listeners will too. But we are keeping you in good energy, and just let us know if you need anything. And we really appreciate your time today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Of course. And stay safe. And if you go to the mall, try to pick something out for me.
All right.
All right. Have a good day. Or a good night.
Thank you. Have a good day.
All right.
TRIO Student Support Services Program and Student Support Services STEM are federally funded college retention and completion programs. These programs focus on academic, personal, and career support for under-resourced undergraduate students. At TRIO SSS and SSS STEM, our goal is helping our students reach their goals. We are currently accepting new students to our program. Apply today. Go to www.ncsu.edu to learn more about student support services at NC State.